Today, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said he wants to fight the invasive snake that's eating its way through the Everglades.
In the summer of 2025, researchers began quietly placing small wire pens across remote stretches of the Florida Everglades, each one containing what looked, at a glance, like an ordinary rabbit. Look closer, and something was off. The rabbit never blinked. It never needed water, never needed food, and could sit motionless in 90-degree heat and pouring rain for weeks without complaint. Inside its fur was a set of motors, a heater, a solar panel, and a motion sensor, built by a University of Florida research team that had spent over a decade trying to solve a single, maddening problem. They knew exactly where thousands of invasive Burmese pythons were hiding. They just could not find them. That problem, more than any other single factor, has defined Florida's decades-long fight against the Burmese python. The species arrived in the Everglades sometime before 1985, most likely through a combination of accidental and deliberate releases tied to the exotic pet trade, and by the early 2000s had established a fully self-sustaining breeding population across South Florida. Since organized removal programs began, more than 15,000 pythons have been captured statewide, and researchers still estimate that tens of thousands more remain, hidden across a wilderness that stretches more than 2,300 miles through Everglades National Park, Big Cypress National Preserve, and Biscayne National Park. The scale of the ecological damage these snakes have caused is difficult to overstate. Mike Kirkland, the lead invasive animal biologist for the South Florida Water Management District, has described a single Burmese python as capable of eating more than 170 other animals over a 5 to 7 year growth period, primarily small and mid-sized mammals, but occasionally birds, deer, and even alligators. In Everglades National Park specifically, officials estimate the snakes have eliminated 95% of small mammal populations and thousands of birds. A landmark 2015 study by University of Florida and U.S. Geological Survey researchers found that nearly 80% of radio-tracked marsh rabbits that died in the park during the study period had been eaten by pythons, and within a year, researchers could find no sign of a rabbit population left in the study area at all, the first hard evidence that pythons had become the dominant predator of marsh rabbits in the park. Understanding just how formidable a hunter these snakes are helps explain why researchers needed something as elaborate as a heated, scented, solar-powered decoy to draw one out. Burmese pythons possess extra stretchy connective tissue between the two halves of their lower jaw, allowing them to open their mouths far wider than the width of their own skull would suggest possible, enabling them to swallow prey whole that would seem impossibly large for a snake of their size. A fall 2024 study measuring this capability found one python capable of opening its jaws to just over 10 inches in diameter, an inch and a half wider than researchers had previously documented, more than enough to accommodate full-grown deer or, in some recorded cases, alligators. Combined with heat-sensing organs along their jaws, capable of detecting the body warmth of nearby prey, even in complete darkness, and a hunting strategy built around patient, motionless ambush rather than active pursuit, Burmese pythons represent close to an ideal predator for the marsh rabbits and other small mammals that once thrived across the Everglades, and an extraordinarily difficult animal for human searchers to spot using sight alone. Here is the core irony that eventually led to robot rabbits. The very reason pythons had become so devastating to the ecosystem, their extraordinary ability to remain completely hidden while hunting, is the exact same trait that has made them almost impossible for humans to find and remove. Researchers estimate that in any given survey area, only about 1 to 3% of the pythons actually present will be detected by conventional search methods, meaning that out of 100 snakes hiding in a stretch of Everglades habitat, searchers might realistically expect to spot 1 to 3 of them. As Kirkland put it, removing a python once it is found is fairly simple. The real problem has always been finding it in the first place. That detection problem is what led University of Florida wildlife ecologist Robert McCleary and his team back to an idea rooted in the same 2015 marsh rabbit findings. If pythons were this drawn to real rabbits, could rabbits themselves become the bait? An earlier 2012 study had already tested this directly, releasing live rabbits into Everglades National Park to see how quickly pythons would find and eat them. McCleary later summarized the results bluntly. The rabbits did not fare well. Follow-up experiments refined the approach, placing live rabbits inside protective wire pens where researchers could monitor them safely while still using their scent and movement to draw pythons in. The method worked. Across a 90-day trial in 2022, 9 rabbit pens successfully lured 22 pythons, with snakes lingering near the pens for more than an hour on average. Evidence that a caged live rabbit was a powerful enough lure to overcome even the python's usual instinct to stay hidden. But live rabbits came with a practical problem of their own. Maintaining dozens of pens scattered across a landscape as remote and difficult to access as the Everglades meant someone had to regularly feed, water, and check on live animals at every single site, an enormously labor-intensive undertaking that limited how many pens the program could realistically deploy or sustain over time. McCleary, describing the origin of the robotic alternative, put it simply: after 10 years spent documenting the scale of the problem, he wanted to actually address it, not just measure it further. The solution his team landed on involved gutting ordinary stuffed toy rabbits and rebuilding them from the inside out. Researchers removed the stuffing entirely and replaced it with small motors to create natural-looking movement, a heating element calibrated to mimic a living rabbit's body temperature, a waterproof solar panel to keep the whole unit running indefinitely without battery changes or human visits, and a scent component designed to replicate the smell real rabbits give off in the wild. Each robotic rabbit is placed inside a small protective pen, monitored remotely by a video camera capable of sending an alert the moment a python approaches, at which point Kirkland's team can dispatch one of their contracted snake hunters directly to that specific pen's coordinates rather than searching blindly across miles of trackless wetland. The engineering challenge of building a convincing robotic rabbit turned out to be considerably more involved than simply gluing a motor inside a stuffed animal. Chris Dutton, an assistant professor in the University of Florida's Department of Biology who contributed to the mechanical design, worked alongside McCleary's ecology team to translate what they knew about real rabbit behavior into something a machine could replicate. The decoys needed to move with the kind of irregular natural motion a living animal produces, rather than the smooth, repetitive back and forth of a typical toy, since pythons hunting by both sight and heat-sensing organs would likely be far less convinced by a mechanically perfect but biologically implausible movement pattern. McCleary, describing his own role in the collaboration, noted that he considers himself an ecologist first, not someone inclined to spend his career building robots, a distinction that reflects just how far outside standard wildlife biology practice. This project pushed the research team in pursuit of a working solution. The technology carries a real price tag, roughly $4,000 per robotic rabbit, funded jointly by the South Florida Water Management District and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. The program has scaled quickly since its first field trials. An initial batch of 40 robotic rabbits was deployed to test the concept, and by the summer of 2025, the Water District and university researchers had expanded the effort to 120 robot rabbits placed at undisclosed locations across South Florida. The exact coordinates kept confidential, specifically to prevent curious members of the public from tracking down and disturbing the decoys. McCleary has been candid that the project's premise sounds unusual even to the researchers running it. He credited his agency partners with being willing to trial, in his words, things that may sound a little crazy, a reflection of just how much conventional detection methods have struggled against a species this well camouflaged and this evasive. Kirkland, describing the broader potential of the approach, called it a tool that could prove especially valuable in areas of high ecological significance, places where wildlife managers most want to intervene, but where pythons have historically proven hardest to locate, potentially representing what he described as a genuine game changer for python detection across the Everglades. The robotic rabbit program operates alongside Florida's other major detection strategy, one built around a completely different animal behavior. Since pythons are extraordinarily difficult to locate outside of breeding season, researchers surgically implant radio transmitters into captured male pythons, sometimes called scout snakes, and release them back into the wild specifically during the winter mating period when males travel long distances searching for receptive females. By tracking a scout snake's movements, researchers can follow him directly to a breeding aggregation and remove not just him, but the female he was searching for, and any other males that gathered around her, all in a single operation. Where the robotic rabbits exploit a python's hunting instinct to reveal its location, the scout snake program exploits its mating instinct for the same purpose. Two very different detection strategies converging on the same underlying insight. Since pythons cannot reliably be found by searching for them directly, the most effective approach is to make the snake's own behavior do the finding instead. It is important to be clear about exactly what these robotic rabbits are and are not expected to accomplish. They are not a standalone solution to Florida's python crisis, and researchers have not claimed otherwise. They function as one additional detection tool within a much larger, multi-pronged removal strategy that already includes contracted python hunters, an annual public hunting competition called the Florida Python Challenge, and a radio telemetry program that surgically implants trackers into male pythons and releases them back into the wild, specifically to lead researchers to breeding females during mating season, exploiting the snake's own reproductive behavior the same way robotic rabbits exploit their hunting behavior. The robotic rabbit program is still explicitly experimental, with researchers actively working through technical issues and refining the design based on results from the field, rather than presenting it as a finished, proven system ready for immediate wide-scale rollout. Florida has also tried enlisting ordinary members of the public directly in the fight through an annual competition called the Florida Python Challenge, which draws hundreds of participants each year competing for cash prizes based on the number and size of pythons they remove from designated public lands over a set 10-day period. Recent competitions have produced snakes up to 15 feet long, drawing significant media coverage and turning python hunting into an unlikely but genuine tourist draw for the state. Even so, wildlife officials are candid that the total number of snakes removed during any single competition period remains modest relative to the tens of thousands still believed to inhabit South Florida, which is exactly why researchers like McCleary have continued pursuing entirely new detection technologies rather than relying on any single method, human hunters, scout snakes, or robotic decoys, to solve the problem on its own. What the program does represent is a genuinely creative response to one of invasive species management's most persistent and frustrating challenges: knowing a problem exists at massive scale while lacking any reliable way to actually locate the individuals causing it. For a species that has spent decades outmaneuvering nearly every conventional search method Florida has thrown at it, being lured out of hiding by a fake rabbit with a heater and a solar panel represents a strange, almost fitting kind of reversal. Using the python's own most dangerous instinct, its relentless, highly effective hunting drive, as the exact mechanism that finally exposes its location to the humans trying to stop it. Researchers piecing together exactly how pythons first arrived in the Everglades have relied on a mix of documented records and reasonable inference, since no single confirmed release event explains the entire invasion. The first python captured within Everglades National Park was recorded in 1979, and most researchers now believe a small, founding population was likely released, whether accidentally or deliberately, into the mangroves near Flamingo sometime before 1985, probably tied to the exotic pet trade that made large constrictor snakes fashionable among reptile keepers during that era. Some owners lost pythons that outgrew their enclosures or escaped confinement. Others appear to have released them deliberately once the snakes became too large and expensive to keep. Whatever the precise combination of causes, the population was already large enough and established enough by the early 2000s that biologists confirmed active, self-sustaining breeding, the point at which a python problem that might once have been manageable with early intervention had already grown far beyond what any single removal effort, however innovative, could hope to fully reverse. For now, the robotic rabbits remain squarely in the experimental phase, with researchers continuing to refine the decoy's movement, scent, and durability based on what they learn from each deployment cycle. Kirkland has indicated the district plans to keep expanding the program if results continue justifying the roughly $4,000 cost per unit, treating the current 120 deployed rabbits as a proving ground for a technology that could eventually be scaled up significantly further, particularly in the kind of remote, ecologically sensitive areas where conventional human search teams struggle most to operate effectively. The broader ecological stakes riding on programs like this one extend well beyond any single missing rabbit population. McCleary has emphasized that mammals play a foundational role throughout the Everglades food web, meaning that recovering their numbers is closely tied to the overall health and function of the wider ecosystem, not simply a matter of restoring one species for its own sake. With marsh rabbits and other small mammals functioning as prey for native predators, ranging from bobcats to birds of prey, their near-total disappearance from large sections of Everglades National Park has rippled outward, reshaping the balance of an ecosystem that took thousands of years to establish and that pythons have measurably destabilized within just a few decades of establishing themselves there. If stories like this one, about scientists getting genuinely creative in the fight against an invasive species that refuses to be found, are the kind of thing you want more of, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.